Hey everybody, my name is Polly. This is Kyle, who is my total political nerd, and we've been talking a lot about American politics in the wake of Roe v. Wade. I've been trying to understand it more, and Kyle's been helping me do that, and we thought we'd share that with you. There's three key things that are at the root of the problems happening in American democracy, and three solutions that we are proposing here in this video that we're going to talk to you about, as well as why it's important for us to be paying attention to this in Australia. Before we get into all of that, Kyle, my dear political nerd, what are the kind of basics that we need to know about American democracy to even understand Roe v. Wade and what's happening?
Yeah, okay, so American Politics 101, some similarities, lots of similarities with how Australian politics works. They've got Congress, we've got Parliament, both have a House of Reps and a Senate, which you need to pass bills through both to become law.
Yep.
They've got a constitution, we've got a constitution. Key difference there is that they've got a Bill of Rights in their constitution, we don't. And then in terms of the high courts, we've got a high court, they've got a Supreme Court. They're both basically the same thing.
Yeah, okay, so why is it such a mess over there?
Why is it a mess? They've basically got problems on all three of these fronts. We'll start with Congress. At the moment, it's really difficult to pass anything through the American Senate because of the filibuster, which requires 60 votes out of 100 to pass most legislation.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So if we put that into Australian terms, it would mean that the ALP would need the support of all 12 of the Greens, all 6 of the crossbenchers, and then they would need 2 additional defectors from the Liberal Party or the Nats.
To make anything happen, which
wouldn't. So it wouldn't happen, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
The Democrats, they have 50 out of 100, so, and they need 60, so they're 10 short. So like you can imagine how difficult it is. Nothing passes apart from the COVID relief package, which had some bipartisan support because the world was ending.
Okay. But we're talking about the Constitution a lot with Roe v. Wade. So what's happened?
So American Constitution is what they would describe as quite rigid. It means it's really difficult to change. It requires 3/4 majority of states and 3/4 of majority of people within those states to make any amendments.
Right.
So
okay, so you
basically
can't really
nothing changes. There hasn't been amendments in a really long time.
So how do they actually do
Exactly. So that's where kind of the court comes in. So the problem with the court at the moment is it takes quite interventionist approach to interpreting the Constitution. So as society has moved along, and the Constitution, which is a 150-year-old document, has some lots of values statements around, say, gun ownership or free speech or freedom of religion. The court then plays a role in interpreting or inferring rights in the provisions of the Constitution to keep it up to date with how modern society has gone.
Which is what happened with, that's how Roe was able to...
Exactly, so that's Roe,
that's
rights. Voting rights, same-sex marriage, all those kinds of things are in this category.
Okay.
Because it's so hard to pass legislation through Congress, and because the Constitution is so rigid, that means that the Supreme Court has become basically the direct or primary avenue for big societal change, and that means that it's becoming very politicized.
Well, okay, so what does that mean exactly?
What does that mean? That means that because it's hard to get anything through, politicians doing politician things, they need to get votes and money. That's strong incentives to appoint justices that see the world they do, so politically aligned justices. Supreme Court judges are appointed to the court by the president and confirmed by the Senate. So that means that if there's vacancy, there are strong political incentives for presidents to put in justices that see the world the way they do, so they can pass legislation that helps them politically.
And there's like 9 of them, so that's a pretty serious concentration of power with a group of people that aren't necessarily...
very unrepresentative.
So for life.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're in a pickle.
They're in a pickle.
Should not be laughing. They're in a serious pickle. What on earth?
How can we help them?
How can we help them? We're going to help
Joe
you.
Biden, here you go. Look.
3 ways.
There's 3 solutions. Keeping in the triplet theme that we've got going on, addressing Congress first, they could get rid of the filibuster. So they could make it easier to pass legislation, just make it easier to get things done.
Similar to us.
Similar to how it works in Australia and most other parliaments around the world. In terms of the Constitution, they could make the Constitution less rigid. That's quite difficult in the US. It's hard to become flexible from a rigid constitution, but they could draw inspiration from countries like Ireland, who have had what is called a constitutional convention, which is a big meeting to look at the constitution and see which provisions could be updated.
So that it's in step with the feelings and sentiments and
stuff
ideas
changes. It's good to have a flexible constitution. There's some, the way Ireland did it involved a citizens' assembly, which has everyday people involved in dissecting their constitution and proposing changes to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Ireland did this on marriage equality and abortion reform. Strong parallels with how the US is going on these issues.
Yeah.
We could also learn from that here. Australia has a whole bunch of political issues that are probably about to hit the referendum stage that could be
so the constitutional issues.
Constitutional issues. So Section 44, possibly the Republic, possibly the voice to Parliament for Indigenous recognition. These things are all coming up quite soon, and so we could have a process that could effectively deal with these things in a way that
brings people
in.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Constitution. That's Congress. What about
the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
So this is a pretty simple fix. They could just change the way that they pick judges. So they could learn from, say, places like the UK, where they have an independent commission that nominates judges independently. What we would say is that they could do that, but the independent committee could then nominate a short list of judges to a citizens' assembly where a mix of everyday people could come together and find common ground on a nominee.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. It means that the judge would be broadly representative of the views of the entire population rather than in the political corner of whoever is appointing them.
So there you have it, our 6-minute we're solving American constitutional crisis. Done. Just like that. And in all seriousness, these moments are really important for us to reflect and look at our context in Australia, because a similar thing, we're not that different as you outlined at the beginning. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.